Hello, I'm Dinus Demir. All right, let me stop lying. Freetown, #1 most beautiful place I've ever been to. More beautiful than Cape Town, more beautiful than anywhere I've been in Nigeria, and more beautiful than Zanzibar. Freetown, by far. Let me stop lying. Freetown's #1, by far. No question. Yeah, look at those mountains. Look at those mountains.
MLK began to believe and understand that Malcolm was right. You understand that? That Malcolm was right. And it's not Malcolm or Garvey that's right, it's the ideal that's right. The African for Africans at home and abroad. Community empowerment, self-determination. That ideal in the hearts and spirits of African people anywhere is what we need to spread. And so it's like, I look at Du Bois, I appreciate his scholarship. I'm not anti-Du Bois. I appreciate his scholarship. I appreciate what of good he contributed. But in terms of him repatriating to Ghana, I don't think that repatriation alone makes you a Pan-African. I've met people who come home that don't have a Pan-African ideal at all. They're just here to enjoy and live on top of the people who's poor. And they don't have no aspirations to unify Africa, no aspirations to build economic strength for the people. You understand? And we gotta understand how building economic strength in Freetown is gonna benefit building economic strength in the Bronx. We got to connect the bridge. It's not just about taking what we work hard for, because we suffer in America, man. These people think we don't suffer.
Of course not.
They think we get our money easy. They think we get our money easy. They don't understand that this is an act of love.
Well, they look at aesthetics as success, and they don't understand the fundamentals of what the roots of success is. That's why a lot of times what I try to tell you young dudes is like, you don't understand that when I come here and I'm building with you and I'm working with you and I'm helping you, you're not gaming me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If I could give you 1 million Leones and be like, all right, I'm investing with you, we working together. I come back and you didn't do anything. You're not gaming me. I'm making an investment in you because I'm making an investment in myself. Because I care about where you are.
Yeah.
You may look at this as like, well, this is my home. I've always been here. It's always going to be here. But that's not necessarily so.
Yeah.
Because where we live, people think that also. Well, you know, I'm from Brooklyn. This Fort Greene.
Yeah,
this Bed-Stuy.
Yeah, man.
The Caucasian done took that already.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He done came in. I'm talking about the hood projects,
Yeah, what happened to
everything.
your hood, homie?
You know what I mean? They what do you call it?
We're a minority
Turning
now.
the projects into co-ops.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Moving people out. They're moving them down south somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
Drove.
brutal, man.
So
It's brutal.
this is because that's how the white men do. Stop, drop, shut them down, open up shop.
Yeah.
That's how he does it. So
can't
they
do
don't
it.
understand because they haven't seen it happen.
And we can't do much
I
about
got
it,
that.
man.
DMX. Oh.
We can't do much
Whoa.
about it, man.
You know what I'm saying?
That's how Rough Riders roll.
From 1900 to 1970, man, we had what? Great migration. A bunch of people who had never lived in urban environments, people who had been agrarian, farmers, basic subsistence people, not only in America, but since Africa. People who didn't have an understanding of urban environments and living with people, shit like that. This nature, doing for self. They were forced off their land and forced to them cities, and now they want the cities back. And so this is what's happening, man. We are being genocided until today. 2020 genocide.
Yeah.
And you know, that sets the context for what we think we should do, bro. A few of the things that we plan to do here is to try to get into investment touring. Investment touring, basically informing and inspiring groups of investors to come here. And on this, not just come here and see the beach and walk around, But on this side, we're actually organizing conferences and meetups so that the people here who are actually investors too, you can meet and mix with. I made friends with the Minister of Trade and Industry here for that purpose. For those out there who don't know, if you're American, in the year 2000, Bill Clinton signed the act into law. It went through the Congress. It's called the African Growth and Opportunity Agreement, AGOA. That was 2000. In Sierra Leone, we have until 2025 to utilize that. So let me tell you what it is. The United States says that they can create growth and opportunity both ways for people in America who seek to invest and people in Africa who are doing business by removing entry costs for trade. Like if I send a container from here to America and certain goods with that AGOA agreement, they're not going to charge me in America to get it.
Does that work in both directions?
It works in both directions. It's called AGOA. I met with the Minister of Trade and Industry here in Sierra Leone, and the first thing he said out of his mouth, do you know about AGOA? The reason is because our people don't know about AGOA here or there. And so it's been 20 years. And he said, bro, people here don't even use it. It's over 200 and something goods that can be traded in and out.
Is there, so what
Open
you're saying,
entry.
is there a list?
I have the full breakdown. I'm gonna send it to you.
Please. Please. Yeah.
I'm talking about, and we need to find out what other countries in Africa have access to AGOA. And when you know what has access to AGOA, you go and meet the Ministry of Trade and Industry in that country and say, well, look, I have several businesses that I want to do, but tell me about AGOA. Because that's going to eliminate a lot of strain for shipping things. So
that has been an obstacle for me right at this moment. I was like, okay, we spoke about the concept. I want to talk to you about that off camera. You know what I mean? And it was me like, okay, how are we going to ship it over here? I have one of my family members has links here on the receiving end, but it's on the other end, and just what we want to ship, how much it's going to cost to ship it, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. It was that cost that was making it sort of, now that you bring that to the table, it's like, that's a huge.
Hey man, listen man, we suffer for lack of knowledge.
5 years.
5 years.
We have 5 years left. It's been 20 years. Wow. And he told me, it was 2019 when I talked to him, he said, man, we got 6 years left. If we can use this, maybe they won't remove it. He said some countries get it, some countries don't. If you don't use it, they say, well, let me go to this country where they might use it. Not all African countries got it, but Salone has had it for the last 20 years and hasn't used it.
But now I have a question for both of you as well, and this is more for you. Do you think that through your platform that it would be possible to do something like a susu, where we begin to take a certain amount of people who would like to contribute and invest, to be like, okay, if you got 1,000 people putting $1,000 in,
it's over.
You know how much bread that is.
Yeah.
We can do that every 3 months.
Yeah.
And every 3 months, we establish a business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, we set up a factory here. We built a school here. We can get that going like this. I got this. I put the first stack up.
Chris,
You got my word right there. I put the first stack up.
You heard it, right?
Let's get it popping.
Let me tell you something. There's a sister, Awo. She's a repatriate too. She went to Ghana and married a brother there. Right now she's in the States. She has a program she's doing, man. It's called the Sankofa Repatriation.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Assistance Program. What she's saying, man, subscribe. Everybody put $1 per month to them, and they want to get 1 million people so that they can holistically repatriate families per year and set them up with business as they arrive. Right. Now, this is something that shouldn't just be our responsibility to do. Right. These are the kind of programs that Marcus Garvey and them was coming up with back then. Again, the word Garvey comes up because we've been here before. We know how it ended. We can't let it happen like that this time. The one thing that's different about all the other times that our people have come back and mastered the continent, the first few times it was because the same people who stole us away brought us back.
All right.
After independence, we start coming back by ourselves. But this time it's completely different. This is like the fourth the fourth home back. The fourth time for us literally trying to come back en masse. You know what I mean? So when you look at that, we have to go back and learn from all of the earlier repatriation experiences and learn from them and then implement that shit. So it's like you said, man, if you had 100 people ready to put up $1,000 every 3 months, if you got that kind of money in Africa, listen to Akon. Akon said, this is the only place you can build a Fortune 500 company
in 5 years.
In 5 years. He's not lying. But it's not selfish thing,
right,
unless you already got the money. See, we need to demonstrate what we can do collectively.
Right.
We know what some of us can do individually, but what can we do collectively in this time, in this period? How many skills and talents, and it ain't even about money, man. Just look how beautiful we are.
Right.
Look what they did to us and look at us now. Ain't no defeat. We be walking around feeling like we got beat up. No, man, I'm still here, motherfucker.
I feel great. I feel like I'm the shit.
You know what I mean?
I'm great.
You see, and that love right there is because you know what you know, because you do what you do. We need to arm our people with the ability to know what you know and do what you do. And we always say people in like a very broad sense, like we just talking about everybody. But it's not true. This brother says something very, very important, man. There's always been people against the progress of Africa within our communities. There's always been them weak individuals who can be kind, who can be bribed, who can be intimidated into snitching on everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Some of them don't even have to be intimidated. They Uncle Ruckus.
Something like that.
You know what I mean?
Something like that.
They just like to see the apple cart flipped over.
It's just like in the streets in America, you know. Until somebody actually goes and snitch, they're gonna tell everybody, I ain't no snitch. I'm real. But when they gotta choose their friends or their freedom, something happens.
Right. Verse 48, you see it all the time.
Something happens. Exactly. Something happens. They start thinking about themselves, and they stop thinking about the collective. That's the first move of a snitch. That's what happened with Denmark Vesey.
Yeah.
That's what happened with Denmark Vesey and the guy who snitched on him.
Yeah.
He was afraid. He said, "No, man, if y'all do that, they're gonna come and kill all of us."
Just like that. Just say just like that.
All of us.
Just
like that.
I've been to the place, in Virginia. They got the place in Richmond where they held Denmark Vesey before they killed him.
In Virginia?
In Virginia. Richmond, Virginia, when you go to the...
They held him, you talking about Nat?
No, I'm talking about Denmark Vesey.
They held him in Virginia?
Yeah.
I thought he was held in South Carolina. Oh, no.
Yeah, South Carolina, Charleston.
Denmark Vesey, they got a African burial ground there, and right in a place called Shacklebottom or something like that.
Okay.
It's like near the river, near the James River, like where the whole Willie Lynch thing, right, for the James River. This is Richmond, Virginia, and they got they still have it there. It's like a little cell, right in this little place where they got the burial ground right there, where they held them at. You know what I mean? So when you go there, you feel the whole energy.
I know they lynched him.
Yeah, man.
I know they lynched him and many others.
Yeah, serious.
But even that case, I mean, we can go case to case to case to case, and for me, there's various forms of betrayal. But at the end of the day, it's becoming too common. It's almost like there's so many of us that don't have that kind of principle anymore. If it's going to move me ahead, I don't care about the rest. And if you worrying about everybody else, you're not going to go ahead. It's because it's a reward punishment system imposed on us for our behavior and our thoughts. If you code switch well, you're going to go farther than me.
Right.
If you're a little bit lighter and a little more handsome, you're going to go farther than me, man, in the white man world all day. And so we start building a false semblance of culture around this. We really got to dumb down. We really got to humble ourselves and say, whoa, man, we fucked up. And then start working on that. Because knowledge is one thing, but if we're not manifesting that, man, we're not really community coming together and putting $1 together, $1 together in small, we're not serious. We're not. Even if you go and you come and you have the greatest money scheme and you come and you get rich, what does that mean for the collective? So we have to really think about cooperative enterprise. Cooperative enterprise. And what I like about co-ops is that you can have investment in various co-ops. The Susu is about saving money. It's not about, it's different. Susu is a savings.
What I'm speaking
is
is, not necessarily the way things have been done, but it's a new day, so we don't have to do it the same way it's been done.
Yes.
Because what's the point of saving money if you're not going to, you can't, I learned this. There's no such thing as saving money. Saving money is losing money.
Yeah.
Because money decreases in value.
Yeah.
So the longer you hold on to it, then you lose it.
Yeah.
When you take it, when you get it, you invest it, and the investments increase your value.
Yeah.
Gold is more expensive now than it was 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So if you kept the money instead of getting the gold, you lost money.
Yeah, I understand.
So
I
it's
understand.
about getting it and that's why I said we get it, and we're not saving, we're not giving it to an individual.
Okay.
As a group, as a collective, we are collectively making an investment, just like, let's say, a collective of Europeans on the stock market. They're like, okay, we're going to start this company. And then the public gets to buy into the company. It makes the company grow, and now that company's worth hundreds of billions of dollars.
But we're not Europeans, and we're not going to be able to do it like
but
that.
I'm saying, I'm using that as an example because the people we're speaking to, they don't know nothing else. So we're not doing what they're doing, but what we're going to do what we're doing, but the results are going to be that we're creating foundations.
Yeah.
In order to create your own educational system, there's not going to be somebody else that finances is what we're used to in the States.
Yeah.
We're used to other people paying for our stuff. And we have to learn how to be the ones to pay for it, to create our farm and get our hands dirty. That doesn't mean everybody got to be the one. We all got to put the same amount of water on every flower. It's just that whoever's better at watering the flower waters the flower. Just like you look, the culture we come from. Everybody wasn't a hunter.
Nah.
Some people built the houses.
Yeah.
Some people went and got the meat. Some people went and got the firewood.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, made the medicine. Women did this. Everybody had a job to do, and they were happy doing it, and they didn't have to get paid for what they were doing because their investment in the community,
was their pay.
That was their pay. In other words, everybody built my house. So when I bring, meat back, it's for everybody.
Yeah.
When somebody went to get fish, it's for everybody.
But see, that ideal is so foreign to us now because of something called capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
And
What are your thoughts on capitalism?
Well, I think that capitalism is the result of the transatlantic slave trade as well. I think that our ancestors were the capital that built capitalism. I think that if our ancestors weren't enslaved, there wouldn't have been a labor source to create value on anybody's market. And so I think that capitalism, like Christianity, is responsible for a lot of what we see happening in our communities, and you can't separate the two.
So do you
I believe
equate
capitalism
to, let's say, for instance, when people did trade back in the days, that was a form of capitalism?
No,
but
it's not.
wasn't.
No, it's not.
So what do you call
Not
it?
when you understand what capitalism is. See, we think that any kind of economics that has to do with trading and making money is capitalism. That means you don't know what capitalism is.
Okay.
That's just economics. When you understand, like for instance, the name is Adam Smith, The Wealth of Nations. Take that book, Adam Smith, The Wealth of Nations. It's a very old book from the 1700s. It was during the time when the Europeans were having their enlightenment. You understand that? He was the same as what Karl Marx is to communism. Mm-hmm. So if you don't know capitalism unless you go back to Adam Smith and start with The Wealth of Nations. When you get there, you understand that it is a system of production and distribution. How are things produced? How are things distributed? How are they owned in society? What class will be ruling and why? So when you have wealth-based rulership, capital-based rulership, those who possess the most capital will also possess the most political power. Do the less work, but have the most power. Then you have that situation. In Europe, before there was capitalism, they had serfdom. They had the old European kings and queen states. But most of the people was poor. most of the Europeans were sharecroppers.
That was
You understand
that
that?
was a version of slavery.
That's sharecropping. Well, it depends on what you call it. Depends.
Because in those days, what the European would do, he would do to his own people.
That was
he did us. Drawn and quartered, drowning people, dunking people, the first time I went to Italy, I went to have a museum there in Milan called the Museum of Torture. And this shit's crazy. Mm-hmm. It's a whole museum filled up with shit that the European created to torture his own people from his inception until probably till today, when he's still doing crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's all kinds of insane devices because that was his way of controlling his people, and he got off on that. He liked that stuff.
Well, the driving motivation behind capitalism is the endless accumulation of capital. And if you look at, like, for instance, socialism, general socialism, they promote a more workers-based power and wealth distribution. So the workers themselves, like, for instance, this bead, my bead just broke. But before it was ever on this, it was a part of a tree. But somebody put their knowledge and somebody put their work through a process that created something of value in the market. So every one of these beads have its own value in the market because when you buy this, the person who made it had to pay for the bead. But the person who makes the bead gets paid first. And the bead comes from the knowledge of someone applying it to nature, like a tree, like these tables. How does this table come about? If people don't work, then there's no value in the market for this table. It's just going to be a log. And so socialism says that basically the workers themselves, the people who apply their knowledge and science to raw material that produces value in the market, that this group of people make up the vast majority of the people anyway, and that if there's a true democracy, it should be a socialist democracy, meaning that economically the people will have power. It shouldn't be a situation where in capitalism you have a few small capitalists who own all the factories, who got all the money and monopolize all the power, and then if you don't work for them, you ain't shit. See, it's a dynamic there. And so I'm not wholly capitalist, I'm not wholly socialist.
Okay.
I believe that our people had a form of African communitalism that made economics local, self-sustainable through the unit of the family and the extended family. We did not have to worry about having money for exchange. We bartered good and value for value. And so I believe that even, go back to Garvey, it wasn't just the UNIA, it was the African Communities League, which was the economic aspect of the movement. African Communities League, meaning that all the African communities should be connected socially, economically. And the UNIA was going to build divisions to facilitate that. You see the game?
Absolutely.
So these are systems that we actually already had, informal systems of economics. Capitalism uses the state. Socialism uses the state. Communism uses the state. But there was times in Africa where we had whole societies that were stateless. There was no one supreme being up top or king. Some places, especially like if you look at the Igbo in Nigeria, they had a very different system that wasn't about building a centralized state like in Mali, for instance. And so when you have these different political systems,
do you even think that the state in Mali was something that came to pass over time?
What do you mean?
In other words,
Yeah, absolutely.
It was
absolutely,
because even at one time,
absolutely,
everybody was in a communal setting.
Yes, but
and then as people began to move around and they began to acquire certain things, and they became hierarchies.
Okay, let me explain to you how I mean it. For instance, Mali, ancient Mali, Manding. Manding had an economic system. The economic system was related to their social system. They felt as though that Mali, the empire, was supposed to be a security force that allowed for all the people that was under it to trade and travel about freely. Just like we're talking about one Africa, no borders. That was the concept of Mali from inception, 1235, Sunjata Keita. And so they had a whole constitution They had a whole big conference. We always talk about the Berlin Conference. You ever heard about the Menden Kul Faba?
Until now.
That was a conference that Sunjata Keita, the founder of Mali, hosted with all of the other kings so that they could sit down and map out the rights of Mali, the people of Mali, the constitution, what the agreements is going to be. They developed something what they call Sanaku. Sanaku is like bantering relationships. You know how like, if you from my hood, you might be able to crack on me.
Right.
Oh, you big ass head nigga, you fuck out, you know. But if you ain't from my hood or you a stranger, you can't do that.
Right.
Well, that's called Sanaku here. So all the people of Mali have Sanaku. If sometimes you come across Mandingos and Fulas, and they will go in. Mandingo man, Mandingo man not big fool. Look the Fula man, you trust him, man. Don't ever trust him more. You know say the Fula man, he thief even Prophet Muhammad slip his head. You understand that? You understand that? So they can do that, and just like we're laughing, they be laughing. So even that part of our culture, from here went over there. We see it in our comedian. Exactly.
You know, that's battle rap right
now. But you don't dozens with an enemy.
Wow.
You don't dozens with an enemy.
No, you do not.
You understand that? So even at the Menden Kul Faba, they established a law called Sanaku to unite the lineages and clans of Mali through a playing, joking relationship. You understand that? And if you was a Fula, it was Fula power that you was under. If you was a Limba, then you was under Limba power. You was born into your nation. You was born into your political sovereignty. It wasn't something, and Mali was a state, but it was a unified state. It was three different, basically empires. Ouagadougou, the former Ouagadougou, Ghana, when it collapsed, then rose Mandang. Mandang was a region located in Guinea, Mauritania, Mali, modern Mali, that area right there. So they had a system, man. Just like 100 years ago, in 1920, our people had a convention in New York City where they had over 25,000 Africans from around the world come together to come up with a constitution. They created a flag, the red, black, and green. They chose a provisional president, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and was empire building. You understand that? So the same thing is how like Sunjata did. Sunjata Keita, he ended up being the Mansa, the king of kings, because he saved the other kingdoms. After he defeated the enemy, he gave all of them their power back. And they said, well, thank you. Only you will they bow to. So they didn't have no beef. All their problems, they went to him for it. You understand that? And so this built unity. They also outlawed the slave trade, which was already happening because the Arabs and the Tuaregs from the north and the Almoravids were already introducing that thing here, grabbing people and going with them. So he outed the slave trade. Slavery was happening even in 1235 when Sunjata came to power. It's written. He banned the slave trade. It was already happening, right? And so this is the thing we don't be understanding. We thinking it all starts when the white man comes. No.
Yeah, we know about that.
You understand that? So and those things happen because of trade relationships. That's why the Mandinka had so many soldiers. They had 250,000 armed Mandinka warriors all throughout West Africa. That's why you will find Mandinka communities in every single West African country, bar none. If you go check the Yoruba, they have a Mandingo ancestry. If you go check the Akan, they have a Mandingo ancestry. And Nkrumah is the same as Koroma. Maybe that's why he was welcome in Guinea. But people don't understand these things. We have ancient ancestral lineage and clan relationships in Africa that we don't have anymore. That's what they took from us. What they took from us is what we're coming back to claim. You understand that?
So now what you're speaking on right now, I think that is a really appetizing way to bring some of this information to our people, because once we realize, that's why this information is so important, especially in a modern context.
Yeah.
Because things like this were taught by Dr. Clark, and Sheikh Diop, Dr.
Man.
Ben,
Chancellor Williams.
I was blessed to lay my eyes on some of that. You know what I mean? So these kinds of things for the modern generation because they don't even have VCR tapes no more.
Yeah,
so
man.
nobody's been looking at those things no more. So now you have silly debates going on between people who are.
I'm a Moor.
Yeah, I'm more. I'm
indigenous to America. Indigenous.
Banging the earth is flat. And all that crazy
Indigenous.
shit. You know what I mean? So once this information is brought back to the youth because they thirsty for that right now. At least on our side of the water, they thirsty for that.
Yeah.
And to be honest, for that to be reinforced in these youth here as well.
Yeah,
Once they sit down and they realize, well, okay, this is who I am. So this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Because sometimes you lose track. You know what I mean? And next thing you know, you're in the street, you wandering around. But once you brought back into the fold and things become, you get back in the circle. Because what I found is, man, once you really, link up with people here,
Yeah, man.
I've never felt such loyalty in my life.
Southern hospitality.
I've never felt
It's
such loyalty
real.
in my life. And even you back in the city, the people that I pallied up with was the people that everybody was scared of. Nobody liked that guy because he's like, and for some reason they like me and I like them too. You know what I mean? That's brotherhood because
Yeah, man.
it's time for that. It's time to
Man.
okay.
You know what? Let me tell you, man. One of the things that
You're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, okay.
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.